Welcome back. My name is Dalila Brooks, and I am here today at my home garden to talk about responsible home gardening. And I'm going to go through some of the garden boxes that I've made and that I've grown vegetables and other items in, and also the things that I've actually taken inside. It's fall now, and so it's starting to get cold, and there are some things that you can actually plant in the fall season outside to prepare for next season. There are other things that you actually want to cover, and then other things you want to take inside. Today, what I'm going to do is harvest whatever I have and actually make something inside and outside. We're going to make pizza. Some of the things have already been growing inside. We're going to go over those items, those ingredients, and also talk about how to make more fun out of home gardening for you and your family. So today we are actually continuing on with this piece about making something from your home garden, and we're making pizza. Now I'm using this pizza crust that's gluten-free, so I have to make my pizza crust. And there's so many different options out there. The affordable option is go to a dollar store. You can get some pre-made pizza crust, thin crust pizza. You can go to the regular grocery store, or you can make it homemade yourself. This is my choice, and this is what I happen to have. And so the rest of the ingredients are going to actually come from my home garden. I don't have a lot of things growing because it's fall season right now, but we're going to go through a little bit of how you can actually make the most of your garden space at home and still make a meal for yourself or for your family that you'll enjoy. This tomato plant is so big that I'm not going to be able to bring it inside, but as you can see, there are some flowers that are blooming, and I haven't actually looked all the way around to see if there's any growth of actual tomatoes on this plant yet, but there are some inside. But there are also some string beans that are growing, and we went over that before. So I'm actually going to use that for the pizza, believe it or not. So I'm going to harvest those, and then we're going to go over to the next area. I have some peanuts growing here. This is the first time I've grown peanuts before. Very exciting to me for so many different reasons. I will go over that another time, but hopefully in the future I will be able to be a little bit more successful at it. But first time is the charm, and then I can do some more research, and I have a few more string beans growing here. I have carrots growing in here. I'm not sure how long those are going to take to grow, but I'm going to have to cover those up. And there's sweet potatoes in this bin. We're going to go inside, and I'm going to harvest a couple of more items. Now that we're inside, you can see that there is another tomato plant that we have here. And this is, yes, a green tomato. It is not ripened, but that's okay. I'm going to use it anyway. I'm going to saute this and season it and use it as a base for the pizza. And we have over here an orange sweet pepper that I'm going to also harvest. And we have a hot pepper over here, and we have a few of them growing, but there's one in particular that's kind of a little bit of ways from me here, and you can see it here. So here is my harvest. Very, very minimal. This is some beans that actually dried out in the pod. So these are great for replanting. So you want to save these seeds and replant them, so they plant them inside so they will continue to flourish. We'll put those aside. But the rest of these are pretty decent enough to saute and then place on a pizza. Yes, this is going to be a very interesting pizza we have here. We have a few different variations of peppers. We have a hot pepper here. We have a sweet yellow orange pepper, and we have a sweet green pepper. So there's some variation there, and one incy bincy tomato. But what I also am going to do is going to use some seasonings that I have around the house. It's always nice to grow your own herbs, and actually there's some herbs still growing outside I'll actually use as well. But if you don't have your own herbs, a collection of herbs inside that are dried out are wonderful addition to any dish that you include. It allows you to experiment with different flavors and flavor components, and makes the meal even much better. So you can see here I chopped some of the vegetables, and I've actually created a bowl with some of the fresh herbs and dried herbs and some seasonings, salt and pepper primarily. I put some of the green tomatoes in, and I'm going to put the rest of them in along with the chopped up string beans. What I'm going to do with the peppers is I'm going to put them on the grill directly so they can have a nice char to them. And then I'm going to add them to this dish a little bit later. So after I mix this in, what I have actually is a pan that is actually a iron skillet. And it's a small iron skillet, and I put some tin foil on top. And I'm going to put this directly on top of the grill. And instead of putting this directly in the grill, because it has some sauces, and I'd like the sauces to maintain the integrity of the dish and not actually seep through to the fire and put the fire out. So in a few moments I'll put it all together, show you what it looks like on the grill. So I'm going to put this right in the center where it should be the most hot, and I have not drenched these in olive oil, but I'm going to just place them around, and then I'll bring some olive oil out and see how they cook. I want them to get a nice smoky direct flavor. Not that this won't be direct, because I'll have the cover on it and it'll have the chance to actually seep into the flavoring of the dish that I have here. What I'm doing now is just checking to see where things are. Things are looking good. What I'm going to also do is add just a little bit of white wine to this, just for some added flavor. For those of you who are used to Italian cooking, and sometimes a little bit of white wine cooked down, or cook the alcohol down if it's for your family. And you can omit any ingredient and add any ingredient you so choose to meet your own dietary requirements. But these are just some of the things that I have and what I wanted to experiment with today on the grill. And what I'm going to do in a moment is take some of these things off the grill and actually blend them together so that not everything will be blended, but after this gets a chance to marinate and the alcohol gets to cook down a little bit, I can make a sauce, and it'll be a nice base instead of the traditional tomato sauce that you see on pizzas. This is gluten-free, a vegan dough that I'm making. I'm actually having to make them into little pizza pies. I was going to use this pan, but what I decided to do was use it to roll out the small pizzas, and I've actually made a couple of them. After I actually blend the ingredients that are cooking on the outside, I'm going to spread this with that with those ingredients, and let's go outside to see what they look like. I'm going to remove it from the heat and blend it together to make a nice pesto sauce. So I've added everything to the blender here, and since my peanuts in the garden actually aren't ready to harvest yet, I have some pine nuts here in the house, so I'm going to add a few pine nuts to make this a little bit more of a pesto. And I'm going to blend these ingredients, place it on top of the pizza, and put the pizza on the grill, and we will see what happens next. So I've plated this beautiful looking pizza, and I've never made a pizza on the grill before, And so this is all new to me. I think I looked under the crust and it looked pretty cooked. Very good. This is homemade pizza made with gluten-free vegan pizza crust and vegetables from our home garden, excluding the pine nuts. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Delilah Brooks at my home garden. And next episode, we will talk to someone else at theirs. Have a great week.